doing very well. How about yourself?
Good. I was also wondering, so I know that in the RWBY universe they like altered some of like Cyborg's powers,
Right.
like who he is. So how have you felt about those alterations while playing the character?
I don't, for me, it's not so much, I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing that his powers were altered. Obviously, the whole Justice League coming into this new world, this is not their world, so everyone's powers are a bit different here. But I think that just gives, it gives the rest of the Justice League, and Cyborg as well, like a chance to figure out how to use these new powers in this new world. So really, that's kind of like a growth thing, and I think that's good to have, that in their repertoire as superheroes.
So with this theme of growth, do you want people at WonderCon, eventually they're going to see a sneak peek of it to help people like see those sort of things?
Oh yeah, the thing with this movie, is you got these two different teams coming together and working with each other, which again I think is like when you learn to put certain things aside and work with people who are maybe not like who you're used to working with. I think that's also an opportunity for growth and teamwork. So yeah, I think we'll see that for sure.
And any particular moments with the character that you really liked playing?
A lot of the scream efforts. I liked doing that because it made me feel like I was in an anime, and that's something I've always wanted to kind of check off the bucket list, because I grew up watching a bunch of different animes. So yeah, just anytime that I was in action, getting able to just record the Wallace stuff just separately, you're in the booth for like 2 hours, and sometimes the session is just making jump efforts or yelling efforts or punching efforts or whatever. So to me, that was very fun to do.
All right, thank you. So building on some of the previous questions, what I'm curious about, there have been multiple interpretations of this character.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance bringing your own version, your own take, also what's appropriate for the content, but still stay respectful to the previous stuff without repeating it and still making it fresh and original?
For sure. I don't know if, my performance is necessarily respecting any of the past cyborgs, but hopefully when people see this, they'll think it's good, and that will be respecting the character as a whole. But with me, I didn't go into this looking up any other people who played Cyborg. I just kind of went in fresh. Because this is a younger version of Cyborg, which I haven't necessarily seen except for like in Teen Titans. So I just kind of did my own thing, and if people like it, they do. If they don't, then you'll never hear from me again at Cyborg. So.
Go ahead if you have another one.
Yeah, sure. So first I have to ask you, do you know anything about like Cyborg's like backstory?
You talk in terms of like how he got the way he got. If I'm not mistaken, he got into a bad accident, correct? And his father kind of, was the mad scientist that like created Cyborg. So I do know that.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you see anything about that in this character with your interpretation of it, the story, handles it?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think just playing a teenage version of any character, I think you're gonna deal with like, teen angst and maybe kind of that mentality of like, you think when we're young, we always think we know everything, which we really don't. So I think, this version of Cyborg might be a little bit more brash in his decision making, perhaps, but I wouldn't say necessarily that something from Cyborg's past influenced how I did the character for this one.
So I would say, what aspects of yourself do you see in the character, or past or present self?
A lot. I mean, one, it sounds like me, so I can connect that way. But I think with Cyborg, he's a strong-willed person and a little hard-headed. and I think that's definitely how I was as a teen as well. You know, I had to make my mistakes in order to, you know, learn from those things. So I definitely kind of can see those aspects from him to me.
Excellent. Thank you. Good night.
No further questions.
No further questions. Interview's over, guys. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.